Hi everyone, welcome back. In this lesson, we'll start to develop the login service. So right-click on the service folder and create a new file called login.service.ts, and we're going to import injectable as it's a service from Angular 2. Cool. We also import HTTP and headers from Angular 2 HTTP. Import observable from RxJS, React.js observable. Don't forget the premises here. Add injectable and there's premises. Export class login service. Okay, we can define a token variable at string type, and we'll define a constructor to initialize the HTTP service from Angular 2. And then we'll create a method called sendCredentials. We'll take in the model variable as parameter, and we'll pass our localhost 8080. User login as the URL. Headers as we'll pass the user credential as JSON, so we need to specify the content type. As application JSON. So I'm using a single quote and double quotes interchangeably, but it's better to keep it consistent. Alright, this thing keeps complaining. Let's fix that. It should be RxJS. And for return, we will have the HTTP post method, token URL, JSON.stringify to serialize the content into string. Headers as headers1. Okay, that's our sendCredentials method. And then we're going to define a send token method. This time we'll add a token to it. And we'll change the name of the URL to user URL. And of course, we'll go to the protected REST directives and user. Let's get some user's information from here. And we need to define a header. And this time we use the authorization keyword. Set the value as bearer, because we're going to use a bearer token space plus the token we pass to the method. Okay. So for return, we'll basically use a get method instead of a post method. So we have a user URL, and then we'll pass our headers which is for verification purpose. Okay, and then let's come to the backend. Open up the user controller, and here we're gonna register a new request mapping as value equals to login, method equals to request method post. And will be a login method which takes the input of the request body content map So here we are using a map, Ctrl+Shift+O to import package. I have a typo here. This one should be square bracket, Ctrl+Shift+O, servlet exception. Alright. So when the request headers have multiple keys, we can use a map to extract that to a variable called JSON, and then we can extract key values from that map. Okay. So first, here we're gonna check whether username or password equals to null. And if that's the case, we can throw a new servlet exception. Alright. And then if it passed the check, we're gonna catch the username and password. And we'll use user service here. Find by username. So basically, we want to use the username to find it. This method we haven't defined yet. We'll define it pretty soon. And if we couldn't find any user with that username, we're gonna throw a new servlet section saying that username not found. And we're gonna set up the password that we get from database. And to check either the password equals to the database one we extract or not. So if the two passwords doesn't match each other, we can throw servlet exception. Saying invalid. Login. Please check your name and password. And then if everything is good, we're gonna build a token. Using the username and claim the roles as a user. Set issue at new date dot sign with signature algorithm dot HS 256 with the secret key. Okay, this secret key actually should be lowercase. Ctrl-Shift-O, import. So basically here we are using the JJWT Java library for JSON Web Token to build a token. And you can see we have set the different parameters like username and rows and date, and also a algorithm to generate the token based on the secret key. Okay, so in the real environment, you want to change this one, use this simple string to a relatively complicated string. Okay, now let's create the find by username method. Open up your user.dao. Again, we're gonna use find by username string username, and because we are extending the CRUD repository, and username actually is one field of our user model, which is here. So Spring Boot will implement this method automatically. Alright, so that's pretty convenient to use. And then we need to connect it to our user service. So in our user service interface, we need to create another user find by username. And in the implementation, we'll define that. Public user find by username string username return user.dao dot find by username Okay, there's still some issue. Let's come back to the interface. Find by username. Alright. So let's just test it out. Start a server. Oops. So it basically says error creating a bin with name JWT filter. Okay. Yeah, I think there's something wrong with the filter here. We shouldn't just cast it into filter. We need to come back to our JWT filter and here we need to extend it to extend it from generic filter bin. Control-Shift-O, import that. Okay, that looks good. Let's restart the server again. Alright, Tomcat started successfully. And let's try to log in from the front page. Oh, I haven't started. Let me just do that. Okay, now we have our home page and register is working, login is not working. Bring up the developer tools. Okay, something is wrong. Okay, we haven't defined the route yet. Or there's something wrong with the route. Let's go take a look. So if we come to our navbar HTML, here the login name is not correct. Okay, now we have our login form. Well, register form, sorry. This is login form. Remember the name and password we have previously? Try to input that. And before you submit, bring up the console and go to network. Click on submit. Okay, no response. Well, that's because we haven't really implemented a corresponding component method in login component yet. Let's just try to do that in the next video. Alright, see you guys in the next one.